Oh, Ben Shapiro talked about
That is a
Hasan. Oh my god. Wow, Shapiro's. I wonder. I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong, I feel like Hasan has invited Ben Shapiro to talk before, and Ben's ignored Hasan. I think that's my understanding. I could be wrong. So it's a little bizarre that he's going on this whole thing. Oh, he's talking about the house and everything. Oh, he's going to go in, I guess. I'm just curious what he has to say. I already know the comments of this video are going to be, Papa God, you hate Hasan. I'm just curious. Listen, you guys know my perspective. My perspective is, hey, listen, Hasan doesn't have to do anything he wants. I just think it would be good for the largest like socialist streamer to advocate better for his position by maybe investing in implementing things that align with him. Like, hey, maybe more worker co-ops. People are like, yo, you want to quit streaming to be to do a worker co-op? No, that would be dumb. I mean, but he could hire a manager. But maybe that's not feasible. Some people have told me that he donates his money to socialist stuff. He just doesn't talk about it, so he doesn't like sound like he's virtue signaling. I guess maybe you should talk about it more. I don't really know. To be honest with you, I'm not like super invested in criticizing Hasan. I made a video because I do commentary, and I was like, hey, yeah, this seems a little bit shitty. You can agree, disagree. I don't really give a shit. But I'm curious what Ben has to say. I will say that after watching that Young Turks, the Anna Kasparian and Ben Shapiro thing, I realized like Ben and Anna themselves were very reasonable in that conversation, but they weren't the way that they act on here. So it's weird. It seems a little disingenuous. But hey, let's watch. I'm curious. What do we got here? Let's watch.
truism of politics that hypocrisy is always newsworthy.
Mm-hmm.
Hypocrisy is always newsworthy. If somebody is a religious Christian and then they have an affair, this is a newsworthy event, according to the media. If there's a politician who's right-wing, that politician turns out to be gay. Really, really newsworthy.
Why? Wait, we opened up with the homophobia. He's like, it's really newsworthy if somebody I understand what he's trying to do. He's trying to let you know that he's not biased. But like, it's like, I have to re-listen.
Media. If there's a politician who's right-wing, that politician turns out to be gay. Really, really newsworthy.
Not really. It's weird that you'd think that. Yeah, based. Come on, it's like yeah, because he doesn't like gay people. Like he doesn't think. Well, it's not that Ben doesn't like gay people. He just doesn't think gay people should act upon their sexuality that makes them happy. But we started this off pretty rough, so I think that if this was an anti-Hasan piece, so far you're painting Hasan in a very positive light.
According
just by painting yourself in a negative light, you know?
The media. But there's one area of hypocrisy that is just not newsworthy to the media. Like truly not newsworthy. And that, of course, is if you are a socialist who's extremely wealthy and gives very little charity. If you are that person, then hypocrisy just doesn't play a part.
Well, I feel like, regardless of whether you think that the criticism is justifiable or not, I think it's pretty justifiable. Hasan's been dogpiled consistently every single time. Like, right-wing news organizations would generally be the ones to pick this up and like shit on Hasan. He's been shit on plenty of times. Again, you might think he deserves it, maybe you don't, but he's gotten in his social space. He's gotten fucking. He's gotten like shit on. I feel like it's not. It's like it's not only as a hypocrisy, but no one's talking about it. You couldn't. There's no way that you could just type in Hasan Piker and well, nothing here actually talks against Hasan because now I look like a fucking asshole. But everybody's talking about it. I know that because like I fucking see it. I'm somewhat in the space, but now I look like an idiot. So fuck me. Let's keep going.
Hypocrisy is never a problem because, after all, you're calling for societal change. You yourself don't have to abide by any of those rules because some animals are more equal than other animals.
It's true.
But the socialist has the benefit of the bargain because you get to be as socialist as you want to, like Bernie Sanders. And then,
there you go. You just fucking Hasan Piker hypocrisy. That's what I should have started with. I took too much of a gamble. Socialist Twitch streamer accused of hypocrisy. Socialist Twitch streamer accused of hypocrisy. Socialist Twitch streamer accused of hypocrisy. The left hypocrisy is real. Socialist Twitch streamer accused of hypocrisy. Socialist Twitch star Hasan Piker buys $2.7 million LA mansion. Twitch streamers' earnings were exposed. Now it's meme time. Blah, blah, blah. Hasan Piker, etc., etc. So you'd see how there's plenty of exposing of his stuff. This guy's, yeah, you get my point.
And you get to have a lake house. You get to be a millionaire while proclaiming that billionaires aren't paying the flesh up. Okay, so this issue has become relevant.
Well, so this is going to be the problem,
past
right? I think that it's a bad criticism to make on Hasan that he can't be rich because he's more social. Well, I guess I don't know exactly what Hasan is. I mean, my understanding is he's a democratic socialist, so he just believes in copying the model of that place across the water with all the Vikings. So yeah, advocate. I think it's unreasonable to say he can't be rich. I think it's reasonable to say he should enact more change. Maybe, I don't know, publicly donate to more socialist programs would be good. I don't think that buying a very expensive house is a good idea because it means that you have to keep up your lavish lifestyle. Which means that there's going to be moments where you might have to sacrifice more of your ideology just to keep up that lifestyle. If you live more moderately with your money, you wouldn't have to do that. I don't think that aligning with Twitch, which is a subsidiary of Amazon, is a good idea to heavily align with if you're going to criticize them constantly, which they deserve criticism for, especially for what you could probably call predatory business tactics, or rather oppressive business tactics toward their employees. That's my criticism, is hey, maybe don't align with Amazon as much as possible, and maybe do more to push a socialist message. But just being oh, you can't be rich because you're socialist, I feel like that's just a bad argument. But
a couple of days, because a guy named
that was a bad Bernie impression. Thank you. Thank you.
Hasan Piker, who I believe used to be a Young Turks guy.
You knew that.
I don't really know that much about him.
I feel like that's not true.
He apparently is a socialist Twitch streamer.
You talked to his uncle. I feel like you know who Hasan Piker is. Come on.
There's a big article, big glowing profile about him in New York Magazine titled...
Didn't you just say nobody calls out socialist people or whatever? They're left-wing people, and now you're talking about how there's a big article in some fucking newspaper? What are you talking about, dog?
Streaming with Hasan Piker, the AOC of Twitch. I'm a political commentator with, stands. Okay, well, in the past few months, Hasan Piker, it turns out, has been revealed to be a very wealthy person, which is good for him. He has a lot of folks who are following him over at Twitch. That is his prerogative, and I'm glad for him that he's been able to build a following. But a couple of times in the last month, it's been revealed that this out-and-out socialist, I mean, this is what he calls himself, that he is a very wealthy man. Quote, Hasan Piker was in a rage.
Hey, don't assume his gender, bro.
A million tabs were pinched together like sardines at the top of his browser. His jittery cursor bounced between them, summoning network news, Chiron's YouTube rants, viral tweets, and TikTok memes.
Fuck you.
Today's trending topic, Piker, who is 30, had purchased a $2.7 million house in West Hollywood. An ordinary Twitch streamer's housing wouldn't make headlines, but over the past 5 years, Piker has become one of the most prominent socialist pundits in America. The controversy about the purchase had made it to Fox News and Breitbart, and Piker was prepared to take on the interlopers who logged on to see the fireworks. Quote, the only reason I'm
just very confused because he started off pretty early saying nobody criticizes left-leaning people, and they're criticizing left-leaning people. I don't understand. This is kind of dumb.
This is expensive is because of the area I live in, he growled. Are you guys really?
His response to the house thing was kind of dumb. If you're going to do it, just be like, hey, I wanted the house. Fuck off. That's what I would have said. I'd be like, hey, fuck you. And I would have laughed. That's what the house I wanted. That's the house I wanted. It was hot. It made me horny. I wanted to go to that house. You know what I mean? That's all you really needed to do. But Hasan got really upset about it. I think that's one of the problems, is that his reaction to it was rather frustrated. But
that's stupid.
Okay.
That's not even a response to the charge. The charge is that for a socialist, you seem to be spending large, my friend. It doesn't
Does he say Cowboy Bebop and Among Us? Never thought I'd hear Ben say things like Cowboy Bebop and Among Us. Does he say those things?
You could have. There are a lot of places that are not in West Hollywood that don't cost $2.7 million.
True.
They're all over the United States.
True.
You can get yourself a tiny little shack and live yourself the Henry David Thoreau lifestyle for probably 30 grand somewhere. True. $2.7 million bucks, a lot of money. I don't see you handing that out to all of the immiserated workers in the Marxist social construct.
Is he gonna call Hasan the imposter? Hasan's the imposter. You're dressed awfully like the suspicious imposter from the hit video game Among Us.
Right, that's the charge. And his response is, well, of course it's expensive around here.
Somebody said, who is going around buying houses because they make you horny? Why do you have to criticize my house hunting skills? I don't understand. What are we doing here? This is not about me. This is a video about Hasan. And you guys are talking about me getting horny for houses? What the fuck's the matter with you, okay? This isn't about me. It's not about me, okay? Let's not talk about this.
This is West Hollywood, which of course is not a response. Piker's.
Someone said, I love Ben, but does he donate to charity? It's very interesting. I actually want to talk about something because somebody made I would say, an ignorant comment, right? It actually mind fucked me with how woke it was, but I'm going to explain it. So somebody was like, "Oh, you want him to donate to more socialist charities, Papa Gut?" Well, if you knew anything about Hasan, he doesn't like donations. Now, I know that that's probably not representative of Hasan, because again, some people have told me, and I can't verify this, that Hasan does donate to socialist organizations. But what they're trying to say is that, generally speaking, conservatives would like to go more conservative and cut regulations and taxes, and they would like to make our tax system charity. Like, you would give what you want to give. I've heard like more radical capitalists say dumb shit like that, thinking that it would actually work. Right? So I'm assuming Hasan doesn't believe that that's an actual functioning operation, which I agree with. You can't just say like, hey, who's going to fund the police? Charity. Because that's just not practical. And even if they did, it would be rich people who would end up owning the police, basically, because they would be the ones that would be writing the checks. So I just thought I think you guys should understand your perspective more before you talk about it. To those people in the comments that were like, he doesn't even like charity. I don't like you. I'm just kidding. But think a little more critically.
Said 3 weeks later, quote, "As long as you don't defang your core values, as long as you're still speaking truth to power, then F them."
Anyway, because donating to charity would be a charity that tries to implement socialism would be a way to work within the system of, you could probably say, too much charity funding things when we need more money to go to those things directly. I don't know. Positive, like better distribution. That would be the way that you'd have to work within the system. Whatever, I'm rambling.
Yeah, speaking truth to power is being the guy who buys the $3 million house and does interviews with New York Magazine and then jabbers about how the rich don't pay their fair share.
I hate it when people go, yeah, but he's just talking about billionaires. I think that's dumb, you know? I don't think it's just billionaires that are the problem. Probably corporations are the biggest problem because they're dodging taxes. It was silly because Ben Shapiro made a really shitty point where he's like, we have some of the highest tax rates for corporations, and Anna Kasparian in their debate was like, they're not paying it though. Like, that's the point. It's not that they don't have a high enough tax rate. It's that they're not paying it because they go through loopholes. You understand?
He says, I don't give a bleep. I'm doing this in the least exploitative way you functionally effing can.
I guess that's true.
Really? He says, it's my labor. I'm the one who's streaming for 10 hours. Welcome to capitalism, my dude.
I think he means that he gets
It's
donations.
my labor? Yes, whose labor? So, in other words, you bet on yourself, you've done really well, and you believe that you deserve to keep the proceeds of that labor. But aren't you exploiting all the people who are engaged in commerce with you? After all, what's serving?
Well, I guess you would say that they're donating their money actively. Like, that's one of the things where you could literally turn Twitch off, I suppose.
Of value are you providing them? You are Twitch streaming video games.
Entertainment. He doesn't give, here's one thing I know. He doesn't play enough games, Ben. You haven't done your research, okay? Because he's getting yelled at by his fans for not playing enough games. So I think he just sits down and gets really grumpy on stream and yells or something. I don't really know. I don't watch this on. I'm just saying, okay? So you got to fucking fact check yourself, Ben. I guess I do too.
Games. Is that a vital social service? What makes that service significant?
Let's see. Is he yelling on stream right now?
The idea that you're like, I'm scared of, unionizing because what if it becomes a company union? Like,
he's not yelling. Okay.
Significantly more important, socially speaking, from a Marxist perspective, than the guy who picks up the garbage. Why doesn't he own a $2.7 million home in West Hollywood?
Okay.
According to New York Magazine, Piker is a Twitch streamer who spends every day in front of a camera speaking to his 1.5 million followers.
I think he usually gets about 30,000 people watching at a time. That's a lot. I'm just saying.
Unlike most of the platform's top users, Piker mostly talks politics.
He gets grumpy and sits down on the stream. That sounds like you, Papa. You know what? Fuck you. You're really coming after me today. All right, and you're not wrong, but Jesus Christ, I can't even handle it anymore.
He trawls through Twitter and roasts bad takes from career right-wing correspondents like Ben Shapiro and Tucker Carlson. He breaks down hawkish New York Times op-eds line by line, steadily working himself into a frothy fury. It's free associative and open-ended. I have an accelerated version of brainworms, he says. I'm literally always online. I'm consuming media nonstop.
Okay.
Tune into a Piker stream, watch him condemn the civilian death toll in Afghanistan. An hour later, he may move on to revisiting his favorite WWE feuds.
Wait, does Hasan watch WWE? Maybe I should be watching more Hasan. Holy shit. He's just your average American.
Don't need to have studied Marx to understand where Piker is coming from. Well, they might have to read Marx to understand why Piker is violating core tenets of Marxism. He looms over his streaming rig at 6'4", broad-shouldered in a silver bracelet and pink-speckled cowboy.
You guys have to stop. Somebody just told me that I look like Steve from Minecraft if I ate too many fucking cakes. What the fuck's happening today in my chat? What the fuck is happening? Oh, Ed burping? Oh my god. You know what? I'm gonna stop looking at my chat.
Boy bebop shirt, gnashing a cud of nicotine gum against his molars. On election night, from the same room, he hosted nearly...
Wait, what did you just say?
Gnashing a cud of nicotine gum against his molars.
Why is the writing so sexy on this? Like he was mashing a piece of nicotine gum. This is weird. This is almost pornography.
On election night, from the same room, he hosted nearly 230,000 concurrent viewers, making him the 6th most watched election live stream across the internet. Cool. A month prior, he broadcast playing the video game Among Us with Representatives AOC and Ilhan Omar.
Among Us. Sussy.
Okay, and then later in this little sop piece, he talks about the tax the rich dress that AOC wore. And here's what he said, quote, "I think the Met Gala is a disgusting, gluttonous exercise. And if given the opportunity to go, I'd do it in an effing heartbeat. I'm sorry, everyone would. Why wouldn't you want to hang out with Frank Ocean? They're not going to the effing Davos summit."
I mean, that's pretty bad. That's not really a good perspective to have. So you think that it's a disgusting, like, waste of money, but you'd still go? See, that's one of those, that's like he just outed himself. That hurts his perspective.
Well, but...
Like, if you think something is really morally reprehensible, you shouldn't engage in that thing, even if there's a benefit of it, right? Because that's really that's the entire framing of what rape culture is. Like, part of what rape culture is not hanging out with somebody you like because they're a rapist, right? Not still being friends with somebody that's a rapist because they're a fucking rapist. That's one of those things where that's probably the worst thing. I didn't even hear about that. I heard about AOC, basically making a mockery out of, I don't know, or making like a dress piece out of, tax the rich. But this idea that you would go, if he had just said like, hey, AOC went there with an eat the rich or a tax the rich dress, and I think that that's spreading socialism, okay, I still don't think she would have went, but fine. That's a fine perspective. But saying that you would go too, now it sounds like, to me, it sounds like that she shouldn't have gone, and now you're saying I would have gone too. I would have folded on my core values. Like, you don't even have the excuse that you need to make money. What the fuck did you need? That's probably the worst Hasan take I've ever seen. That's stupid. Like, you're gonna, I want to go so I can hang out with Frank Ocean. That's silly. You don't need to do that. You could have just, again, went with the, like, oh, she's advocating for a socialist or DemSoc message. Okay, fine. But you're saying that you would go against your moral values too? That's stupid. That's not a good perspective. That's not respectable. This is ridiculous. I feel like it's got to... At what point do the Hasan supporters... When do you guys get tired of doing this? Of defending every action? Because if he'd stop, he would stop doing bad things, right? That's it. You have to keep him in check. He only feels comfortable doing things he shouldn't because you guys are like, yeah, do it. It's okay. We're totally fine with it. We don't give a shit. It's like, that's weird.
Yes, they are. What do you think the Met Gala is? It is a bunch of rich liberals who are getting together to feat themselves for their rich liberalism.
That's kind of true, I guess.
Again,
I used to think it was for the New York Mets, so I was like, that's a conservative gala, right? But it's actually for some kind of metropolitan art, which is interesting.
I'm not interested in calling out hypocrisy. The reason I say that is because this story was now updated, okay? So there was a Twitch data leak. Here's how it was reported from the New York Times.
Ben. Come on.
Twitch, the live video site popular with gamers, said on Wednesday it had endured a data breach that security researchers believe may have provided sweeping insight into the platform's computer code, security vulnerabilities, and payments to its content creators.
Very sus.
Twitch, which is owned by Amazon, confirmed it had been breached hours after a user posted what the user claimed was an enormous trove of Twitch data onto the anonymous message board website 4chan.
Okay.
The user said the file contained, among other items, the history of Twitch's source code, proprietary...
Yo, can we just talk about how 4chan is really just good for porn now? Like, all the real trolls left, They're, like, just fucking, dicking around.
Software development kits, an unreleased competitor to Steam and online game store, and programs, and a list of the amount of money that each of the site's streamers has earned since 2019. Find out how much your favorite streamer is really making, the user posted. Jeff Bezos paid $970 million for this. We're giving it away for free. Again, we're going through this New York Times piece about Twitch. Buried way down in this article, way down in this article, is this little revelation. Quote, according to the list of earnings, which could not be independently verified, some notable personalities had made millions of dollars since 2019. One streamer, Hasan Piker, anticipated people getting angry about the amount of money the list said he had made. Just woke up to some fun news, he tweeted. Can't wait for people to be mad at me about my publicly available sub count again. And then he trended. He said, "Bro, come on."
That's true. He has like he does in his defense leave his sub count up there. I think he has like 50,000 monthly subs. Am I right about that? Let's do the math. So yeah, like $125,000 a month. Like he puts that out there in his defense, and some of them might be tier 2s and 3s, and I don't know how the fucking system works. And then there's donations through Steam Labs, and then there's exclusivity deals. He probably gets more. Actually, he probably gets more because I did like 2.5. So if he has an exclusivity deal, he's probably getting like 3.5. So let's just say 150 something. I don't really want to do the math again because I'm lazy. I get $2.5 dollars per sub, right? Hasan probably gets like 3.5. So.
Okay, so it never says in here what exactly Hasan Piker
Bro,
made.
I never. It does. What are you talking about, Ben? I'm exhausted by you. It literally does. It's whatever. Ben, I can't handle you today. What's bothering me the most is that you're using your fucking trackpad on your goddamn laptop. Get a mouse. What the fuck's the matter with you? You must be like satanic. Who does that? Like that's the most uncomfortable thing to do is not use a mouse on a laptop. What the fuck's the matter with you? I just don't get it. What the hell are you doing?
Now, let's just put it this way. It makes headlines every time a conservative signs a contract. Okay, if
I don't know
the IRS information of conservative commentators were leaked, you think that wouldn't be front page news? It would absolutely be front page news, and it wouldn't be about the leak.
Why?
Or how the leak came about.
It would be about where you got your money from. That would be what would put those conservatives on the front page news.
What it would be about was the amount of money that everybody was making.
Well, no. If it's a politician making a lot of money, it would probably be about like why? Why did Nancy Pelosi make $10 trillion? Or why did who's Gobblemouth, whatever his name is, Mitch McConnell? Why did he make $1 trillion? I don't know. Whatever. You get my point. Because you would probably be invested into some really scummy tactics and shit. So it's not because they made a lot necessarily. It would be because why they made that much.
How do we know this? Because the front page of every major newspaper this week was about what international figures made via IRS documents that were leaked.
Okay, cool.
Right, and other sort of financial documents that were leaked. It was the content that was the story. So, what exactly did these leaked documents show? It showed that Hasan apparently rakes in about $3 million a year.
Well, I believe it was from 2019 to 2021. So it'd be 2 years or a year and a half, but hey, fuck me, right?
Twitch streaming, which is a lot of money.
Sure. Yeah.
It's a lot more money than your average day-to-day Marxist lower class worker.
I don't think that he's a Marxist.
Right? The social class.
Listen, I have to get my understanding. He's a democratic socialist who said that he would like to get to Marxist and socialist ideology. He just doesn't know how to get there. That's my understanding. Now that might be wrong, but okay.
Class of people who are doing the actual labor that is being exploited. Why isn't that the headline? The reason that isn't the headline is because socialists are never held to their own standards.
Well, okay, so in this case, you would say he's not really exploiting anybody. You could just not watch him or donate, but he's aligning himself with a company that exploits its workers, which is Amazon. So that's the criticism. You're not even on point with your criticism, Ben. This is poop. How do people become big content creators and just not really know what the fuck they're talking about? I mean, I feel like this Ben was like, I have something, I want to talk about something. Let's talk about Hasan and just talk about how he's a Marxist socialist and he needs to align better with his ideology in like the most basic way where he should be living in a $30,000 hut in the fucking middle of Alabama or something. It's like, that's not really the greatest point. You know, this is why people align with Hasan more. Because if you watch Ben Shapiro versus Hasan, you're probably going to side with Ben or Hasan if you're more left-leaning, because you're like, what the fuck's happening, Ben? Like, what are you talking about?
They are never held to their own standards. See, here's the thing about socialism. If you actually held to your standard, then you would presumably be very concerned with giving away a lot of your money to charity or ensuring that the amount of money that you made for your socially useless service, according to Marxist theory, because, of course, your labor should be judged by some outside metric that is not the market. So somebody's going to have to explain, by Marxist theory, why exactly it is more valuable for a guy to sit around and stream video games than it is for somebody to clean toilets.
Oh, I guess people just think Hasan's hot and they get horny and when they watch him play video games and talk. And so I guess that's how they're going to gauge that metric. Yeah.
I can explain it because market says...
What am I doing with my mouth? I'm bored. I'm just being weird.
That's what it's worth. Things are worth what people say they are worth. But I'm not sure how, from a Marxist perspective, you can make that case. I also am not sure how you defend a $2.7 million home or a $3 million income for doing those things and then say it's my labor. No. That's my perspective, dude. If you're going to do the it's my labor routine, welcome to capitalism, my dude. Seriously.
What is this weird my dude thing?
So it is amusing to watch the media play this game. You're a hypocrite if you are a right-winger who abrogate.
But aren't you kind of the media, Ben? Shouldn't you be talking about it more also? I mean, people are, a lot of people are talking about it on Twitch. I mean, a lot of people are grilling the fuck out of us on, but aren't you kind of like the new media? So shouldn't you be talking about it? You know, the media doesn't really talk about Twitch streamers too much. I mean, they probably did talk about it, but nobody really gives a shit about, like, video game nerds. That's why it hasn't picked up major mainstream headline, even though you're reading one, apparently. Like, what? You're reading one. But it doesn't get picked up by the media.
Your own principles. If you're a left-wing socialist who earns millions of dollars for talking online, then you are not a hypocrite in any way. By the way, if you're a left-wing outlet that rails against the evils of capitalism while taking millions of dollars from hedge funds and YouTube, you're not a hypocrite either. That's
what he's coming after Cenk Uygur now. I believe that's what Cenk Uygur has done among us.
The way this works. Nobody has to hold you to account or point out that you need to. If you are Young Turks, for example.
Yeah, see, I knew that. I am a little educated.
And you attempt to crush your own unionization efforts, right? If you are
I think that
the outlet for unionization, unionization is the only thing that matters. And then, like a couple of years ago,
bro, can I just talk about? I don't like my union. I was in a terrible union at my job that let my job take away my benefits and didn't give a fuck about me and didn't even make them align with contracts. My union was pathetic. It was worthless. That's one of the things I'm not like super big into unions is because they're just in the pocket of the fucking company that they work for. Or it's like cop unions that are honestly too strong and they don't let us accurately fucking manage police officers. I like cops, but like Jesus Christ, you know? Like, hey, can I have some basic information about the terrible things this cop's done? No, we're gonna hide that away because, you know, just because he does a horrible thing. Oh, okay, that's totally understandable. Oh, is it okay for police officers in 35 states to sleep with somebody in their custody? Yeah, that's fine, even though that's pretty much sexual assault because the literal power dynamic makes them feel like they probably can't say no. Like, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. Like, that's totally. It's like, God damn it, you know. I just feel like unions for America aren't great because there's just so many different people here. I don't know. Maybe we just have like a dog-eat-dog fucking atmosphere. I'm not saying we shouldn't provide good wages to workers. We should totally. But like I'm just saying, I don't know if unions are our best way. Maybe I'm just too biased.
Turns out that people at your place are trying to unionize. And you.
But yeah, if Cenk Uygur does, I heard about that. He tried to like suppress the unions in his own spot, which is pretty dumb.
Yell at them not to unionize. Nobody seems to care very much about that. And now, here's my belief about hypocrisy.
Okay.
You can make the case for Hasan or TYT, or who I believe Hasan used to be at TYT. You can make the case for all of these people that personal activity doesn't abrogate the principle. Right? You can make the case that the Marxist principles are correct and you are living in opposition to those Marxist principles because everybody is a sinner, right? This is sort of the religious perspective. There are religious principles about morals. You don't always live up to those because everybody is a sinner. That doesn't mean the morals are wrong, it means you're wrong. But you can't have it both ways. You can't say everything I'm doing is entirely justified and I'm a Marxist stalwart while simultaneously living high on the hog the way that a capitalist would. Here's my capitalist view of all this. Congratulations to Hasan on earning his business success. I hope he enjoys his $2.7 million house and his $200,000 of earned income every month. I hope he enjoys it to the fullest of his ability and lives a happy, fulfilling capitalist life. Same for all of the people over at places like TYT. But please stop pretending that you are a good Marxist if you don't live like a Marxist and justify yourself in capitalist terms. Because that ain't the way this works. At least acknowledge your sins against the great gods of socialist redistribution. I know what you're thinking.
Yeah, I'm thinking that was like, well, okay, that was a pretty easy jab for you. All right, whatever. I mean, like, listen, I feel like Ben didn't really hit the message on it. But here's what I'd say.